And on today's show, why advisors should look at buy-sell strategies to penetrate the business market. Part 2 of this week's series on business owner and executive solutions with Principal's Regional Vice President, Sherry Flint. Hi everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Backroom Technician and Inspark. Let's get down to business. Well, welcome to day 2.
Thank you very much.
Sherry, I have to say, if you missed, and I want to tell our people, if you missed our show, Sherry actually laid out Principal's comprehensive business approach, which is a little strange because generally we have been piecemealing this for my last 30 years of my career. It's, hey, we're talking about business succession, we're talking about business retirement, executive benefits, we're talking about estate planning because my business is really the major asset of my estate itself. Today we're talking about something so integrated, so comprehensive, so thorough. At first I thought it would be overwhelming. So if you missed yesterday's show, I'd say go back out and watch it because it kind of gives you an introduction and it won't be so overwhelming. And I cannot believe the support you're giving to this. Now, when we're talking about buy-sell, my mind drifts to the buy-sell agreement, cross-purchase agreement, stock redemption agreement, the wait-and-see trust. Is that what we're talking about in the way you approach it and the way Principal's been approaching it?
That can definitely be part of it. I mean, having a formal buy-sell agreement, that legal document that outlines what will happen if a business owner dies, becomes sick or hurt, and can't come to work tomorrow, wants to retire from the business, becomes divorced. It's that legal document, and all of those are customized based on the size and the number of owners of a business.
When I'm approaching business succession planning, buy, sell, is it odd to find that they might have some insurance for this, but no documents for it?
You know what? We see everything. We see documents with no financing, we see financing with no documents, and we see no documents. And you know, when you think of the statistics, only 37% of business owners actually have a buy-sell agreement in place. One of the things that we do that we're going to talk about, Steve, is our buy-sell review. What we find is that just like any other type of financial asset or financial strategy, buy-sell agreements need to be reviewed and updated periodically. And so one of the things that we offer is our complimentary buy-sell review. We take their legal document, we ask for their financing, their life insurance and their disability, and we have our team of attorneys and CPAs review that to see what we can find.
Now we're day 2 here, and you've used that word complimentary again. So let me go through this. So let's say my advisors are watching today, and they say, Steve, I want to take Sherry up on her offer. So I'm hearing that the team, the Principal, these fiduciaries, CPAs, attorneys, people who do this for a living every day, will review for free. And then what will I get? When I get the review back, what will it say? What will be recommendations? What will I have?
Absolutely. So you'll actually receive a report back. It's a buy-sell review report. And it'll actually go through provision by provision. It'll outline the good, the bad, and the ugly, what's missing, what some enhancements, some good best practices. So we'll have one attorney go through and create a report, and then we actually have a second attorney go back through and do a peer review. So you have 2 sets of attorneys reviewing a legal document complementary. Now, we use it as a jumping off point to bring their attorneys and CPAs into the discussion to make sure that that document is updated. It
doesn't replace the business owner's attorneys and CPAs.
No, we want to bring them into the fold. We want to put the advisor in the quarterback position so that we can bring all the advisors in and kind of run those conversations. But here's what we find, Steve. There's always provisions of the document that are outdated. There's always gaps in financing. We had one recently where they had this fabulous disability clause, never funded it. The company couldn't afford to buy out the business owner if a disability occurred. We see that all the time. So it's really important to periodically review a buy-sell agreement.
In your experience, because you've been in this niche so long, have you seen traditional funding more on the death benefit life insurance side rather than disability? Or have you seen it pretty much the same?
You know, people tend to neglect disability, but you know, we have a complete suite of disability products for the business planning marketplace. So disability buyout, key person disability. We just have a nice suite. So I think you need to help your client with all of them, right? You know, if they become sick or hurt and can't come to work tomorrow, how are they going to pay their employees? How are they going to hire somebody to replace them temporarily? How do we address those things? So disability is a really important part of buy-sell planning.
And keep in mind too, this, a lot of us who've been following my blogs online, if you went out to the largest blog site in the United States, which I'm sure you all know who it is, if you go out there and you look at last year's DI, I used exclusively Principal's propaganda brochures and their marketing pieces on it, and you should see the view hits on that. It is extensive. So it's really good, and that's a compliment to them for doing such a great job on, I think, the most neglected insurance out there. By the way, let me ask you another one. Do you see much long-term care in buy-sell agreement planning?
You know, I don't usually see that as a provision, but I tell you what, when we're working with the business owner and we start talking about their transition plans and their retirement and their estate planning, long-term care is often something that comes up and advisors have a discussion with.
So I did my review. I have it back from you. I've talked to your fiduciaries at the office. So I'm now up to speed as the advisor. Now, is my next approach or step, am I going to the fiduciary on the other side to bring them together?
You're going to go meet with the business owner. You get their attorneys and CPAs involved, and you'll probably have our attorney on the phone to go through the findings. They're going to get really technical about the different provisions, and that will allow the attorney to update it. And so it's really a great service. Those typically take 17 to 19 business days, and we ask for a copy of the legal document and any insurance that's funding those agreements so we can do a comprehensive review.
I know, but 3 weeks is still very good time.
Oh, it's great.
Really
you know, the attorneys are just so good. They enjoy getting involved in cases, and they're just very good at it.
When we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit about another neglected area of just business succession, ESOPs. I mean, hardly anybody ever chats about them. We're going to talk about that right after the break. It's not how much money you make for your clients, it's how much money they get to keep, especially in retirement. But retirement income could cause Social Security benefits to be taxed. One tax advantage alternative is life insurance designed as a non-modified endowment contract that can generate tax-free income without taxing Social Security benefits. These contracts offer differing funding options depending upon your client's risk tolerance. For more information on how life insurance can be part of your retirement planning, just email me at steve@downtobusiness.tv. Brought to you by Ash Brokerage, the practice enhancement company. Well, welcome back to our second segment. Of course, we're talking with Sherry Flint, expert in comprehensive business planning, and this is really, we're just trying to give you an introduction today of all the good things we're talking about yesterday's show and today's show. And ESOPs, I mean, I have to say, to be totally honest, I haven't heard anybody talking about ESOPs in a long time. First of all, what's the acronym, and why do we think this is an area that we need to open up again?
Well, employee stock ownership plans are very popular, and the market's been a little slow the last few years, but they've come back into favor because stock prices were depressed before. It was difficult to get loans to implement an ESOP plan. But right now, the tax rates are high, so it's a lot of business owners have been sitting on the fence thinking about an exit strategy. We have 7.7 million business owners that'll be transitioning out of their business in the next 10 to 15 years. Many of them don't have a succession strategy. ESOP could work very well for some of those closely held companies.
Now, if I'm I'm assuming there's a specific data collector for ESOPs. Okay, what am I looking for? I'm an advisor. How do I know when an ESOP's appropriate? What am I looking for? What are the kind of criteria?
You're going to be looking for companies where you have owners nearing retirement, companies where they have successor management team in place, companies that are open to the idea of having their employees be owners of the company. We're going to be looking for companies that have at least $500,000 of after-tax revenue or more, and at least 50 employees or more. That's generally speaking somebody that might be a good ESOP candidate.
Now, okay, so let's say I find somebody on your requirements, and I have that. Now, how do I explain how that works? I have an advisor watching our show today. Can you give me a basic understanding of how the mechanics work? Basically,
an ESOP is a qualified plan. It invests in primarily stock, and it allows the business owner to borrow against the ESOP. And so essentially what we do is we set up an ESOP plan. We buy the ESOP buys the stock from the business owner and creates liquidity. The benefits of an ESOP is it allows the business owner to create some liquidity for themselves while maintaining control of the business. And it allows them to avoid some of the taxes, the capital gains tax that we're seeing in the marketplace today. Okay, so I see where the liquidity comes in. Now, how do my normal employees, though, have money to buy the business out? How do they do that? Well, here's what happens is, because it's a qualified plan, stock is issued pro rata to all the employees. So everybody gets stock. What happens is when an employee leaves, we buy their stock back. So it's similar to a 401k plan where you get shares in the business. Like a profit sharing plan. There's contributions made on behalf of the participants in the form of shares, and those shares have value. So I have that now, and how do I know which employees am I going to cherry pick in my organization to take over as true owners? There's two components of that. First of all, because an ESOP is a qualified plan, you cannot cherry pick. So you have to treat all your employees in the ESOP the same. You have to treat them all the same. They all get shares pro rata. What often happens, though, is there is that select group of management, highly compensated folks that are critical to the ongoing organization of the business. That actually sets us up for a second sale, which is the deferred compensation plan that we often put in place to funnel more money to those individuals in a discriminatory manner.
Okay, so because I can discriminate with deferred comp, that's why I'm using it. In my first one, when I'm looking at this from a funding point of view, what sales strategies or what product lines are we looking at in an ESOP? What do I need to use to make these ESOPs actually work?
Well, there's a number, first of all, we want to determine, are they a good fit? We do some feasibility studies, and we have a specialist, Jeff Bakonga, on our team, and that's all he does is ESOPs.
And again, this is all complementary. Feasibility studies.
The feasibility study oftentimes does cost money, but what Jeff will do is look at the scenario, talk to the business owner, and get a feel for, are they a viable candidate for an ESOP, or is a different exit strategy important? From there, what we look at is, we do the feasibility study, we work on setting up an ESOP plan, and then the sales opportunities are funding the repurchase liability. So as part of the ESOP's required to buy back stock as participants leave. How do we do that? Usually we create a sinking fund using insurance, because insurance is the only asset that grows tax deferred that you can borrow against tax free, right? So insurance oftentimes is a great strategy for funding the repurchase liability of an ESOP. We have key person insurance sales, we have deferred compensation sales, we have loan covenants that we need to protect against. So there's a lot of secondary sales as part of the ESOP strategy.
Besides the feasibility study, what other support mechanisms does Principal use when let's say they've done the ESOP, it looks like a good study, it looks like we should do, what are we handing the advisor to arm them with?
You know what, we can do everything. Again, we have a team of consultants, attorneys, CPAs, and ESOP specialists that are available for point of sale assistance. So we do proposals, we do funding, we do administration.
Location, they come on location?
They can. Yep, we have point of sale specialists that go out and get involved in these conversations, and oftentimes it might be combined with a 401k sale or a defined benefit sale, and so oftentimes we're looking at it from a holistic standpoint. But the thing to remember about Principal is we are the largest provider of ESOP plans in the marketplace. We record keep over 900 ESOPs. We record keep over 50% of the top largest closely held ESOPs in the country. So we have very specific expertise. And again, before, during, and after. We can help you get started in identifying that person, that company. We can help you with point of sale assistance, and at the end, we can administer it too.
I'm just considering, I have many advisors that are very good at marketeering, but they're not in the detailed analytics side of this equation. Sounds like with the support you're talking about, they could actually be bird dogging, looking for these ideas because you have such a good support mechanism already set up with fiduciaries and the brochures and everything that you have. This is where I think that a lot of people say, I don't mind doing data collection and everything else, but I need help at point of sale.
And that's exactly right. I mean, the key with us is, especially in the ESOP and the deferred compensation space, they're so specialized. It's hard to be good at everything. You know what? Rely on our team. We have point of sale specialists strategically located around the country to help you identify and close those sales.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Remember, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always consult your tax advisor, legal counsel, or your broker-dealer compliance officer. Missed an episode? Just go out to our site at downtobusiness.ashbrokerage.com. Want to email me? steve@downtobusiness.tv. And remember, you could be wiser as an Ash Brokerage advisor. I'm Steve Savant. We'll see you tomorrow.